Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do this fold back locking card. It is made with just a piece of the 12 by 12 designer series paper. Little bits of cardstock here and there for the doodads, but fundamentally it's just an entire card made from the 12 by 12. So let me pop it off to one side and bring in the ingredients we're going to need. There is a template which is the cutting sizes. So this is the piece and it's 11 by 5.5. So I had to lose an inch. And I was a little bit particular about the inch that I cut off because the first piece is 4 1/4. Then it's scored at 5 1/2. Then it's scored at 9 1/4. And then that's the end. But this piece is 1 1/4 and this piece is 3/4 of an inch. So you have to be very particular as to where you start because you can't flip it over. So when I did mine, I actually did mine upside down because I wanted the bigger piece to be over on the opposite side to the way that it would flow through the paper trimmer. So without further delay, let me get back to my pieces. So this piece has the 1 3/4 inch piece. And this one has just the 1 1/4, so you can see how I cut, you know. Here's the directions, but in order for mine to do it, to end up looking like that, I had to put the cards, the designer series paper, into the paper cutter upside down to cut the right measurements. I will put all the directions and dimensions on my blog and I will put a little sample, and of course I will absolutely put the template on there, and it will all make sense when you come to see how it folds. So it all folds back on itself and you just get one piece that is the opposite side. That's why I was particular, because I wanted these birds to show. When I made my first original one, I'd sliced it a little bit further off and realised it would look better if there was more. It's really just a little bit finagling to get the best part of the pattern the way you want it to be. So let's go ahead and put the middle in, because that's just a nice 1/6 of a piece of basic white cardstock, and that's the easiest piece for making sense of. So I'm just going to put the sticky on the back and line it up evenly between the fold lines, and that's it. So then the rest of the piece was actually a little bit of fussy cutting. I used the Nests of Winter designer series paper, and what I cut, where is my, this was a sheet that I used. So I cut this little bird out. I put this little bit of greenery, which was down the side. And then I even got a bit at the edge, which was just a little scrap, which, as you can see, technically is half of this whole bird. But there's just a piece of it. But that little bit of greenery, I thought, oh, that would come in handy. So I just cut that off the half a bird body. And that's it. And this is where I put it, and I thought it just added a little bit of extra. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat, because when I'm doing all the sticking, I don't want the adhesive to run off onto my work surface, make everything sticky. So I'm going to take the little bird that I fussy cutted out and pop him onto one of the circles that I cut from early espresso paper, using the deckled circle dies. These are the dies, and I just cut them at various sizes. And then what we're going to do is take the pine cone and put it on the inside, and there's a little bit of greenery that I rescued from one of the edge pieces. I am just putting on that corner, and I've just gone and got sticky adhesive strings all over myself, so don't want to close my card and find I've stuck it down. And then what we need to do is bring in the greeting, and the greeting I took from One of a Kind. Hope you have the merriest season ever. And I'm going to stamp that in the early espresso because it matches with the cardstock that I'm using for the 2 locking circles. I do have the big pad of early espresso, but what I thought to do is when you get paper pumpkin kits, they come with these lovely little spots and you get a whole collection quite quickly built up. And I just wanted to use it just in this instance, just so you can see that it is a perfectly serviceable little ink pad. It stamps just as well as the big one. I know when I'm doing paper pumpkin videos, I tend to do the opposite. Go, oh, the kit comes with this lovely little spot, but I'm going to use the big one because I've got it. Well, doing it the opposite now. I've got the big one, but I'm just showing you how the little one works. And then I'm going to take that extra one little doodad that I cut out. Again, doing it on the silicone mat so it doesn't get the sticky all over my table. And pop that on. And then I'm just going to stick it with some adhesive behind onto the circle. So look at that, we're actually almost finished, if you can believe that. So what we need to do now is put this circle into place. I'm not going to stick it down yet because it's actually going to go on dimensionals, but I'm just going to use it so I can see where this would best be attached to this edge. And there's not actually an awful lot because it's only going on this layer. So what I'm going to do is bring in a post-it note. I know we've got our lovely ZZ fold technique that we've pretty much got down pat, but you have to be very careful when it's circles, and you especially have to be very careful with circles so close to an edge. So I'm going to leave as much of this little bird as I can. Try not to obscure this guy. And then what I'll do is I will put the post-it note up against the edge. So you can see that's the only piece that's going to get stuck down. And then what I will do is, if I flip it over, I can now see I only want to put glue here. I've basically created a little ZZ fold template sort of wannabe. So we'll put glue just on that piece of the circle. We don't want it to go any further over because it will stick the card down to itself. And then we can line up where we would like it to go. And if we just line the post-it note back up with the edges of the piece it's going to be attached to, and we peel that off, whoops, we can be sure there's going to be no adhesive here to stick it down to this piece. So that's just a little extra way of getting a security of where you're putting your stickiness. And then what we're going to do is put some dimensionals on the back of here. So I'm going to put 2 towards the bottom, 1 just around from where his tail is, and 1 where the bottom of the greenery is. And we know they are going to be okay on the actual piece. And then we're going to pop it here and leave enough space that it will hold this down. So what I'm going to do with the next dimensional is just put it here, because we know we've got the 2 on the bottom, and if we put 1 somewhere here on the card, we know when we put it down it will attach in the right place. Oops. So I just make sure that's being peeled off. So if we stick this into place, we know the 2 we put on are in a good position. We know that one is, and now it's going to hold that down. So then when you open it, you've got the greeting panel on the inside and the cute little locking piece on the outside. And there you have it, 2 the same. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing. Give me a thumbs up. I do like thumbs up. If you've got any questions or comments, pop those in the description box below. As always, all the directions and dimensions will be on my blog, and I will particularly put this template on and make a note of how to use it if you turn it upside down. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.